Well, hello once again, everyone. Brian June here, and this is NoteGenius Pro video tutorial number 3. So let's jump right in. We're going to go back to NoteGenius Pro, Troy Fullwood Space. Again, we're at the activity stream. I want you to notice that this overall count for the OnCare web leads updates once every day, not in real time, just to point that out to you. Next, we're going to go over to back to Note Leads. And we're going to go back to one of the records that we used a little bit earlier. And this was from our session yesterday. Remember, we looked at this and we had an email in here and we had canceled the email. Now, what I want to show you is when you do that on the back end, let me open this up for you here. When we do this on the back end, I want you to see what's going on. I want you to notice that when we go to the list that we subscribe to in MailChimp, which is this house for sale ad, that's the Craigslist, it changed the status. If you remember, I used the bitwarehouse@gmail.com. It changed it to an unsubscribed status, and therefore no more emails will come from that list. So I just wanted you to see that. We'll go back over here, and then since then I've been adding and subtracting, doing some demos for some folks. So I've changed this around a little bit. But another point I want to make to you, I want you to watch this. These are toggles. And you need to understand how these toggles work. So if I hit here, cancel blind email, because I was subscribed on this list, let me show you that, briangjune@gmail.com. You can see here, briangjune@gmail.com. It says subscribe. So the system knows that I'm subscribed in MailChimp. And when I click it to cancel the blind email, in other words, unsubscribe, then over here you'll see that it does it. But now watch, if I do that again, if I hit that again, I want you to watch what it does over here. It says no value here. So that's a little thing for it. Now, why does it say no value? Well, it doesn't have anything to cancel because I've already canceled it in a previous step. And so I canceled it here, and then I tried to cancel it again, and it said no value. So if you think something's not working, it is. You just need to know how it works. So I just wanted to show you that real quickly. Now, let's go back to, let's X out of here and go into another Craigslist ad, because I want to show you the way that you can get some real power out of this thing. Here you see, this is actually a mobile home for sale in Marin County. Look at this, it's $240,000. I'm not sure that Troy wants to work on mobile homes, but nonetheless, it's important that when you go through these lists here, let me tell you why this is so important. When you go through these lists, here's how you should do it. Click on the item. Click into the Craigslist listing. look at it and determine, is this something that you want to work on, yes or no? This one's kind of interesting. I don't see this too often. This has got another web link inside. So we can just highlight that and then right click it and go to realtor.com to look at it. So the actual ad isn't on Craigslist there. Here it is on realtor.com. Now that looks like a pretty nice house. We'll wait till it comes up. And we'll look at a few pictures. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. So this might be one I want to work on. 250,000, 2,500 square feet. Now here you really see, obviously in Marin County, you have a 2,500 square foot, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, beautiful looking home for 250,000 versus a mobile home for 250,000. Nonetheless, from here, you would again try, and this one's going to be much more difficult. This is why a computer really can't do everything. This is why it still takes work. There is no substitute for the work, so we can get the address. We'll copy and paste the address back in to our flow here, property address, and there it is, auto-populating. Let's see if in either Craigslist or in, let's look in Craigslist. No, we just have this Craigslist. This is actually a mail redirect. Here's the thing about this. You could copy and paste this back into the email address here. Whoops. Let's try that one more time. Yeah. Copy, paste, there we go. Now here's what would happen. This is what I've got to caution you against. Don't send a blind ad to an email, to a Craigslist.org email blind list. If you do that, if we were to send an email to them, what it would do is MailChimp would cancel it automatically. MailChimp sees that that's a Craigslist blind ad, and it simply unsubscribes them as soon as you subscribe them. Now, that's not what we want to have happen. And furthermore, if you do that too many times, MailChimp will turn off your account, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Now, down the road here, we're investigating. This is, people just expect everything from technology today, but everything, frankly, is not available. So I mentioned to you in yesterday's little video that one of the things that we couldn't do is get past that CAPTCHA screen, at least not consistently and programmatically. Another thing we can't do yet is to email using MailChimp to a Craigslist.org email. So I suggest that you don't try that so that you don't get bounced from your MailChimp account. Now, another thing I want to look at here, this might be a little more detailed, but frankly, it's important that you see that. Let's go in here to the into the mail. This is the email that I got using Troy Fullwood's account from yesterday's video, and I want you to pay a couple attention. I want you to pay attention here. One, this says from Troy at pinnacleinvestments.com. We could control that, and we could send that from another email address. In fact, I suggest you do. And when you're done watching this video, you may want to shoot me an email saying, hey, I'd like to use like a private email address, not Pinnacle Investments. Here's why. I'm going to talk about the psychology behind these right now. When you put a company, like especially an investment company or a note company, in these ads to Craigslist people, or actually in any of these ads, you're going to find they don't answer them nearly as much. Now here, if we go down to the bottom of this email, let's look at the signature. Well, they can tell it's from a list, but it doesn't say anything about Pinnacle Investments here. It says Troy Fullwood, and I highly suggest something like that because you're going to get a better response rate, and that's what you want. You want to get people in the queue using a very good response rate. Same thing with the email here. We should be using here an email that says troy@gmail.com. I'm not sure he's got that address, but something very non-threatening. That way, the people are much more likely to email you back. So again, we see it here, troy@pinnacleinvestments.com in the header, and we see troy@pinnacleinvestments.com here. And we're just much less likely to get responses from that. So I wanted to show you that. That's very important. But now let me drill down just a little bit and tell you what you're doing here, or what you should be doing. Now this is based upon us doing this here at my own shop for a long time. What you should be doing is, no wasted leads, no wasted leads. Now what you're tempted to do is tempted to click on here, go inside of it, look at it. Well, that's one we just liked. That's this one here, okay? Now we have to respond to, we can go to real.com and look at this, but we really don't have a good way to get to this person other than through the Craigslist email address, which I just told you can't use right now in the automated. So people are doing one or two things. We used to do all of these by hand, every single one of them. And we would just send an email from our normal email account, and that'll get, you're not going to get an astounding response from this, guys. You're going to get, you're doing two things here. I would explain it this way to you. When you go through these note leads, you're going through people that have the blind ads. What do I mean by a blind ad? It's a Craigslist reply address, point one, and point two, they don't have their individual email on there or their individual phone number on there. And so without an individual phone number, email address, you have no way to get a hold of them. Those are what I mean by blind. Now, the other thing that you're getting in here is you're getting people that do have their name and address, or their name and phone number, and sometimes their email address. Those are the ones that you want to prioritize and reach out to right away. You'll get a higher response rate on those. So if you can talk to them on the phone, you're going to get a higher response rate. You will get probably closer to at least, you should be getting at least a 10% response rate on those, meaning that you should be able to escalate 10% of them from note leads to note sellers. So let's go into another one. Let me just continue on this little lesson while we're doing it, and you'll actually see what I mean here. I'm going to just do a few of them. So here's another one. Again, in the body of the email from Craigslist, there is no information, but if we click, there it goes. You see, I'm not a robot, because I've been doing this now too many times. And so, but here again, it's just the Craigslist. Now, I don't know, I've always wondered at how serious people are when they're trying to sell a house. This is the difference between a professional and an amateur with respect to trying to, a professional makes it easy for you to contact them. An amateur makes it very difficult. So we actually looked at this one before. We'll look at it again. because this is a good one to take a quick look at. Reply, I'm not a robot. You remember from yesterday's email, we weren't, or video, we weren't getting that. But here we have Wanda and a 904 area code. Here's what we like to do. Right now, this just reduces the number of touches. You can see that what this does is it greatly reduces the time that you have to spend going through these things. So we know right now we could pick up the phone and call this phone number and ask for Wanda. Okay? And when we ask for Wanda, we're going to say something like, hey, Wanda, this is Brian June. I saw your email, or maybe you can even say Brian. And because, again, if I say Brian June, I'm sounding more businessy. And if I say Brian, I'm sounding a little less formal. But that's up to you how you want to do it. Experiment with it. Try different ways. I cannot tell you one thing works all the time in any area, because every area is different and every person is different. So it's hard to do an A/B split test on this and say, well, first names always work better or full names always work better. You really don't know. So it's just, it takes work to make money, guys. I don't know any way to make money without work. As they say, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. So we'll X out of this one. We'll go to the next one, San Francisco Bay. That's the mobile home. Let's see if there's any. You can always read the bodies. Sometimes they'll put their details in the body of the email. And click the reply. I'm not a robot. Only the Craigslist. Boom, we'll get out of there. Close some of these down. Well, that's the realtor.com. Close that. Go to the next one. Here we go. All right. 899,000, a working store, 2 homes in Santa Clarita, and might be a nice CRE opportunity. It's also got 2 homes on it, 7 acres. Boom, we'll click into it. I'm not a robot. And again, so the California people are making it harder than most folks to get to them. Close that. Now, another thing I'm not doing here, if these were mine, and these are not mine, so I'm not killing them, okay? But if these were mine, I'd be taking one more step, and I'll show you this next step during the next couple of ads. Okay, so that's the one we just looked at. X out. We'll go here to Columbus, house for sale in Delaware, Ohio. Click into it. Well, come on. There we go. All right. Nice enough looking house. Oh, there we go. They even give us the address here. And we'll go into the reply. I'm not a robot. Here we go. Another good one. So this one here, by good one, I prioritize these. This is what you need to know. My priority is people who have a name and a phone number is priority 1. People who have only a phone number is priority 2. People that have only a Craigslist reply to address are the lowest priority, but you still shouldn't necessarily throw them away, okay? And so I'm not going to go through showing you how to put those into Podio. You know how to do that. But if we had a real email address for this, so with this guy, we're going to call him on the phone. If we had, and when we call him on the phone, one of the things you want to do is get their email address, folks. And so we can put it in there. So we can call them and talk to them. Or excuse me, so that we can email them with our automated campaigns. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So now here's the reason we added this field I showed you in yesterday's video. Let's go back to, let's see, I think the San Diego one didn't have, yeah. So this one, yeah, only has the Craigslist.org reply email. So here's what I would do with that for now. Okay, there's two things you can do with this. One, you can send them an email hand by hand. Okay, we have tried that. That's very long and tedious and laborious. Okay, not only that, if they do reply, you've got to go hunting them down in your system, and then you've got to kind of manually start the flow. So because the return rate on those are so low, what we do is we hit permanently delete. So if you just go through these, if you just go through these note leads, one by one, you need to call them if they have a phone number and fill out the note leads information. You need to email them if they have an individual email. You can email them outside of NoteGenius if they have a Craigslist email, but you can't do that from a MailChimp account. If you don't want to bother with it right now because it's not, we don't have the ability to automate that yet, just permanently delete it and clean out of these out so you're not looking at 100 or 200 or 500 or whatever. Some of you've got like 700 or 800 leads, okay? And you're not going to go through 700 or 800. So you need to have a way of systematically doing this. So here's the thing. This is all on this today, and we'll have another video out to you on Wednesday. So this is Tuesday's video. We're going to do a Wednesday video, a Thursday video, a Friday video. Guys, use the system. Go through the leads and either escalate the lead, okay, or delete the lead. That's the simplest way to do it. Let me show you one more issue while I'm on that. You know how to delete it, but I really didn't show you escalating it. And let me do that here for a minute. I'm just going to escalate this so you'll see how to escalate it. Now I'm going to undo this when I'm done with this demo, because this is live data, and I want Troy to have the opportunity to still contact these folks if they want. So I'm just going to put my info in here. So I put my name, my cell phone, my email. In here. Now, it's not my property, but I want to show you what happens when we escalate this. So I'm going through, and I've deleted the ones that I'm going to delete. Don't be too quick to delete them. Here's the other, I mean, yeah, I'm not actually contradicting myself. I know it sounds like I am. Delete them only right now if the only information they have is the Craigslist email. The Craigslist email. The exception to that is if you want to do it by hand, but if you don't, just delete them. Otherwise, try to reach out to these. This is money, and even though I'm going to show you one more thing because I don't want this to be lost on you. So here's how you escalate it. In the status field, click Note Seller. Okay. Now something very cool happens. So I changed the status to note seller. All right. Now I want to show you something here. So remember that I put an address in here. That address wasn't there. I copy and pasted it. I put my email, my phone, my name. It was pre-populated with the asking price and with Troy. Okay. Now watch this. Now I'm going to go over to the note leads. And remember, I escalated this. Okay. So boom. These fill in, you know, they fill in from the top. So here we go. When I escalated this, it took everything from that lead or that the lead app and put it all over into note. It took it from note leads and put it to note sellers. So you'll notice that it has the name, has the email, has the phone, and then has the address. That's all transferred over from that other address. Here you see a photo of it. It's got a Zillow link, etc. So wanted you to see that. Let me see here. Okay. And so I wanted you to see how that worked. Now, we're going to go back. We're not going to go through this today because it's just too much for one video. But we're going to go back over to the Note Leads app. And guess what? It's gone. You see that? It actually transferred that particular lead from Note Leads to Note Sellers. So when you go through here and you delete these out, either permanently delete them, then they're gone, or you can escalate them by clicking on that Note Seller button, and then they also are removed from this list and put over to the Note Sellers list. Okay, that's quite a bit of material for today's video, folks. Hope you enjoyed this. That'll be it for now, and we'll have another video out to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.